Excuse me. Oh god. Ooh, that hurt. Oh my god. My ears hurt. Oh my god. So it's like raining really, like ice rain right now. In Ohio. Probably because we're lazy bums. Like any other state, like, well, I'll agree and I'll disagree, but here's the thing, like, Ohio is like for engineers. It's for like you hear someone that makes X amount of figures, you know, name your digits, you know, 5, 6, 7 digits. I'm like, but still, like, you'd have to work how many years making that salary or making that amount of money a year, and it's like, are you happy? Are you happy you wasted that amount of time? My answer would be no. Like, to get there, it's like, yeah, well, you're smart, you're this, you're that, you're whatever, but it's like, but really, like, are you happy? Like, are you happy? Like, are you happy? Like, and to me personally, this is just me and my personal opinion. It's like, no matter where you are or what you do, I think Ohio is one of those places where you can only do so much. And I'm not saying it's a bad state, but I will say there's other states that are a little bit more progressive when it comes down to, like, you know, utilizing everything, you know, because if you're close to a lake, if you're close to this, or you're close to that, or you're close to a river, or close to whatever, you know, like, you utilize everything, you know, and I think that a lot of states tend to do that, where they kind of like, they waste certain resources as opposed to utilizing the ones that they can, and it's like, that's what I really miss. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I would say that, and steel was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, but, like, you know, like, as soon as people stopped using fossil fuels and stuff, they put up, like, the Lincoln Electric fan and stuff like that. You know, you think you would have more of a, like, if you're gonna do that kind of stuff and make those kind of things and, like, create sustainable energy, you know, like, give back and learn how to utilize, you know, that stuff. But like I said, like, people want to close down the power plant that's right next to where I live or whatever. People had to get, like, people are so backwards when it comes down to certain things, you know, and it's like, it's a way that they think, or it's the way their mentality is, or it's a way of something that, like, you want to blame, you want to be able to pass the blame or pass the buck towards something else, and it's like, that's why I don't like being in a factory, I don't like being an engineer, I don't like that kind of thinking, because it's like, oh, someone else is going to automatically do it. It's like, well, you know, personally, you know, I went out of my way to go try and do something, and I did it as well as I could, but you know what, when you come back to this place, you expect something of it, and it's like, well, you didn't get what you expected, and that's how Ohio feels, especially when you talk about other states. Like, when I went to Pittsburgh, and I lived there for a couple years, I was like, wow, you know, like, this is completely polar opposite of what I expected. Like, and I understand that, like, there's boroughs of certain areas, and every single borough is like, yeah, and this is me saying something politically, but, like, politically there are certain things that just aren't as progressive, and it's the way people treat each other in certain areas, and I hate that. I hate the fact that it's like, people are very PC, and people are very, you know, like, sensitive when it comes down to making a difference, you know? And as soon as I got back and I was like, well, I'm in Ohio now, And me being in Ohio, I'm like, there's no jobs for me. Like what I wanted to do, what kind of field I wanted to be in, or like just the type of money I wanted, and doing what I was doing, which I thought I was good at, which is just showing up. Like if you're good at showing up in certain jobs, what's that? I used to work at like in like food and beverage industry, and I was like, maybe I want to be better at that. That's what I was thinking. And while I was getting better at it, I wanted to go back to school and learn to communicate better and learn to trade, learn to trade, like actually trade, like quid pro quo, like you do one or two things, get resources, network back forth, like do something, you know, and in my environment now, I have to go out of my way, and it's more geared towards less of a culturally accepting, I would call them culturally accepting society and environment, that it's like, oh yeah, well, like this is my problem I have. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to work for it. And I'm like, what do you mean I have to work for it? Like I've put my time in ulterior, departments. I think I can do certain things, and the reason why I can't is because you're saying I can't. Not because I say I can't, but because your attitude towards me and the way I said something, you don't agree with. And I'm at a loss because I have to go off of what you said, not what I can do, and you're not letting me do what I can, and that, I know that sounds kind of confusing how I said it, but in my head it's like, other people stop you from doing things, and as soon as you tell them, like, you can't stop me from doing something, it doesn't matter, like, they already stopped you, and they already said, they already have a mentality inside their head that you can't get any farther in your life because they said so. And that's what I hate about working for other people. What's that? I have a cousin that offered me to go move towards Texas or move towards somewhere else, and I was just like, yeah, that's what I'm like, I want to do that, I want to do what I'm doing right now, but as a job. Like, I want to be able to, like, play video games as a job. I want to be able to blog as a job. I want to be able to just write certain things and say things like I'm saying right now, but have someone be like, yeah, you're right, And whether or not you're right or not, it's like someone agree or disagree with me, but it's just like, yeah, like, it's completely biased or unbiased, or it's just a complete opinion that it's like, it was genuine, And there's not that many people that are genuine because they're constantly looking for someone. They're constantly looking for someone to be their scapegoat and just be like, they're not good enough, Instead of building someone up, they would rather tear someone down, It's easier for them. It's easier for them to bring themselves up by tearing other people down, like crabs in a barrel.
I totally get it.
I think, like, just being positive too is one of those things that it's contagious. Negativity is one of those things where, like, you don't want to deal with it, but everyone does. But when you're, like, positive about certain things, and people see you just being positive all the time, I've noticed that a lot of people are like, yeah, like, this guy's pretty good, or this person's, whatever. And it's because I've seen them at their lows. Oh yeah. Like, my biggest flaw is, like, not the overconfidence of certain things, but just being able to, like, say things. People get offended when you say things. And I'm like, wow, like, I've never been around so many snowflakes when it's, like, not even winter out. But I still feel the cold shoulder,
Do you know who Steven Crowder is?
I like Crowder.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I like the way he says certain things just because he's, like, changing my mind. Yeah. And it's funny because I agree with some of the stuff, but I also disagree with a lot of stuff because people are like, oh yeah, there's only this or there's only that or whatever. And he's like, well, he just comes at it with, a little bit of educational and factual content or factual, like, statements based off of, based off of actual studies or based off of just like previous conversations and documentation, and someone else will just come at it with an emotional attachment, and it will suck. It will suck all of the progression, and it sounds so uneducated when they're so like when people genuinely come at it with like emotion, like they come at it with hate. They come at it with like, this person doesn't care. And he's like, no, I do want to care. I do want to understand your opinion. It's just that where you're coming from is not coming from you don't have any documentation. You don't have any of this. You don't have any of that. You don't have any credibility. You're just coming at it because of your personal experience, not opposed to like getting a group together, talking about certain things, talking about both sides of the issue, talking about why it's different, why it's that, why, whys, the actual whys and the actual process of like, yeah, like we have said this and what you've done, like what they've contributed. But people that do that don't have that credibility. And that Crowder, what you're talking about, he was like, well, yeah, like I've had multiple of these, conversations. The fact that you're being a little B-word about it, about saying certain things, it's like, why would I get mad? Because you're just giving me more content. That's what I think, why he does it. He's like, you give me such good content because you're so emotional towards something you care about. As opposed to me, it's like, well, it is this way, You can't change it unless you actually go out and do something. Like when I saw like they were like it was like a lot of laws or a lot of things that were getting passed last couple of weeks, and people actually like went to town halls and went to their councils, and they were complaining. They were whining like little babies. I'm like, grown ass people whining like little babies. You don't know how I feel, this or that. I'm like, I understand that people showed up to it and they did not have something their side, but then they didn't make anything happen of it. They didn't make a movement. They didn't band together and just be like, hey, is there a possibility we can build another thing that makes it so it's like it's fair for everyone else, not just the fact that it's written this way, but we can accommodate or compromise or whatever. Like, no, they didn't. They were just like bitching about it. It was like, okay, we get it.
Well, the thing is, though, you really want
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Were you there the other day, this week? I apologize for cutting you off, but were you there when the guy was yelling at me about Star Wars? Okay, never mind. He said that Star Wars is dying because it got sold to Disney, and Disney bought them out, and they sold themselves. But he was mad. No, don't worry about it. Oh no. Yeah, like it doesn't do anything. It just makes you sound less educated when you have a very opinionated and very bold position over how someone said something about you, towards you, or towards something you enjoy, or something you're passionate about. And then, like, there's a lot of people that get me a little bit heated like that too, but it's like you have to be smarter than a lot of people, or you have to be smart when you're in a conversation to keep the conversation going and to make a difference. Because people just don't really want to make a difference or persuade anyone. They just want to have a point and they want to be right. And sometimes when you get in an argument and you're not right, and you know you're not right, but you have a position in the conversation, it's like, these are the reasons why it would work. These are the reasons why it wouldn't work. And you know what? You're like, how about we figure it out? But it's like, not everyone knows how to do that kind of crap. Not everyone knows how to just be like, oh yeah. Or they're just like, or it just doesn't really matter to them, they just want to fight. There's a lot of people I've met that just want to fight. And it's like, why? Why do you want to fight and waste time? Like, you're wasting freaking time fighting about something when you can do something. Energy weapon. Oh yeah. Well, some people are. Oh yeah. You know what? I have to. I think that is one of the things too. Like you shouldn't waste you shouldn't waste your time, and you shouldn't waste your opinion, and you shouldn't waste certain things, or edit and wordsmith yourself to get yourself out of a situation, or like wordsmith your way to sound like you care, or sound like you like care about the other person. You know what I mean? And a lot of times people don't. People don't care what you think. People don't care what you have to contribute, and the reason why they don't have that to contribute or is because they don't value you, you know? And it's scary to know that people do have a value when it comes down to certain things. Like, are you valuable in the workforce? You know, that's something that people do. People do ask. People ask if you're valuable at doing certain things or your opinion. You know, and when I went to art school. Oh yeah, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, they're not selling snake oil, so it's not that big of a deal. But like, it's your quality of expectancy of life, and your quality of life, and the quality of your environment and the people you hang out with, because that's the thing they're gonna really comes down to. Like, there's like Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, there's all kinds of different walks of religious enlightenment that I will call it. And the thing is, when you walk a certain path, your life is supposed to be better. You shouldn't have to deal with certain uh, conflict or struggles if your mind and your pretty much like, in a way, it's like, and this is just based off of an opinion. Someone had a conversation with me that was a former coworker that I really did not like, but he had a valid opinion where it was like, you know, religion was to control the weak. Religion was to, you know, do this. Religion was established for whatever purpose, he was saying. And I was like, you know what, like, based off of literature and based off of what he said and based off of whatever, like, yeah, he's right, you know, like, and that's proof. It's proven. It's been proven, and it's been an actual thing where, like, if you go through literature and you go through society, you go through like any civilization, like, that is an actual reoccurrence where, like, there was some facts, you know, behind what he said. You know what I mean? Like, do I agree that in my personal life that, you know, it affects me or whatever? Like, yeah, like, in a way, it's like, you know, like, I could say my father's a pastor or whatever, you know, and it's like, yeah, I strongly believe that, you know, religion factors into how your quality of life is. Because other people will expect things from you, period. Because you say you're something. And, you know, that expectation will, that will kind of like, came out of nowhere. Really get out of here. That expectation will make people think differently of you. You know? Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't. For me? Are you actually asking me as from a philosophical standpoint? Well, like, personally, religion is just something that religion is kind of a cult. If you break it down, it's a cult. But religion is kind of like your. It's not just